The abortion debate is hitting a fever pitch on the Hill right now. What's being called the most restrictive abortion bill to hit the floor of Congress in 10 years comes up in the House later this afternoon around 1 o'clock, we're told. The bill, sponsored by Republican Congressman Trent Franks of Arizona, bans most abortions after 20 weeks. The bill claims a fetus can respond to touch at 8 weeks and that it can feel pain at 20 weeks. The bill excludes cases of rape or incest if they are reported, and it goes on to exclude cases when the mother's life is at risk. Right now, almost a dozen states have laws in effect or pending that ban abortion at 20 weeks or less. Joining me now, Republican Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. She is not the bill's sponsor, but she will be managing the debate on the floor. Congresswoman, always good to see you. First of all, did I characterize that bill correctly? Did we get it all right there?
Yeah, I think you got some of the language, the bill text in, and yes, we will have it on the floor this afternoon.
You are leading this debate in place of your colleague, Trent Franks, who, of course, sparked a great deal of outrage after he made comments on rape and pregnancy last week. I do want to remind our viewers what he said.
The incidence of rape and resulting in pregnancy are very low. But when you make that exception, there's usually a requirement to report the rape within 48 hours.
Do you agree that the number of rapes from pregnancy is low?
Well, I think that what you know is that Representative Franks has apologized for his comments, and the bill has been amended, which does allow the exceptions of rape and incest in the life of the mother, and that was the appropriate step to take.
But the bill only allows the exception for rape when it's reported. Only allows the exception for incest when it's reported. Is that correct?
That there is a reporting requirement in the text of the bill, and the hope is that will help with getting some of these perpetrators out of the population that are committing these crimes against women and against minor females. We certainly would hope that we could rid our society of these perpetrators.
Congresswoman, do you know how many cases of rape and incest go unreported in this country every year?
You know, I know that any rape and any incest is a horrible and horrific crime. And what we want to do, and the purpose of the legislation today, Craig, is to make certain that those who are carrying out crimes against women and against these unborn babies are dealt with. You know, it's so interesting to see what has transpired after the public became aware of the Kermit Gosnell situation in Philadelphia, and I don't know how you all covered that.
I want to come back to. I do want to talk about Kermit Gosnell, but I do want to go back to this unreported rapes and incest figure. 54%. I mean, that's the amount right now that according to the most recent information, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, 54% of rapes are not reported in America every year. Doesn't this requirement in the bill that rape or incest must be reported, doesn't that put the law between the patient and the doctor?
We have a very narrowly drafted bill. It deals specifically with these late-term abortions. My hope is that we can show tremendous compassion to anyone who has been a victim of rape, a victim of incest, and that we can rid our society of these perpetrators who carry out these crimes many times repeatedly on their victims.
How do you fight rapists with an abortion bill?
What we are seeking to do is fight the Kermit Gosnells and the Doug Carpens and to end this practice of late-term abortion, which is killing these babies, which is harming women. 80% of the American people, according to a Gallup USA Today poll, agree with us on this, that all late-term abortions should be stopped, that 60% of all second trimester abortions should be stopped, that when a baby feels pain, that you should not carry out that abortion.
I want to talk to you because, again, in your bill, and I've got a copy of the bill here, 1797, in the bill you assert, you make some medical assertions there, and I think we should note that according to the American Medical Association, the suggestion that a fetus at 20 weeks can feel pain, that's inconsistent with a lot of biological evidence as well. Evidence regarding the capacity for fetal pain is limited, but indicates that fetal perception of pain is unlikely before the third trimester. Again, that's from the AMA.
And we're talking about beginning at the 20th week, the 6th month. We're talking about babies that could survive many times. And I don't know, Craig, if you've ever spent any time in a neonatal care unit,
a great deal of time,
as they're called. And you know how these tiny little preemies and how they respond to the pricks and the prods and the pain that goes into their care and into the great hopes of their parents who desperately are hoping that they will survive. And so you know that when some of these fabulous fetal surgeries that are carried out, which is a remarkable scientific advancement, what do? They provide an anesthesia for these fetuses so that they will not feel the pain, because they know that they are experiencing that pain.
And again,
so
I don't want to get bogged down.
As we are bringing this forward, what we're saying is science is on our side on this. Public opinion is on our side on this.
I think a great deal of people would agree that science is on your side and public opinion is on your side. But I do want to talk about something you brought up. Kermit Gosnell, House Speaker John Boehner said last week that this new push came about in part because of that trial. Of course, the abortion provider just sentenced to life in prison for killing babies. We all know that those kinds of cases are rare. Coupled with the recent state restrictions that are chipping away at the number of weeks, how concerned are you that measures like this will lead at some point to unsafe abortions, to a great deal of unsafe abortions, backroom abortions, alley abortions? How concerned are you about that?
Well, I think what we're concerned about is the fact that as states have started their investigations, and you've got 15 states over the last 3 years that have moved forward with these investigations, the stories that are coming forward are horrific, whether it is Texas, whether it is Gosnell, whether it is New Mexico, whether it is West Virginia, whether it is the state of Virginia, whether it is Delaware with 2 pro-choice nurses that came forward and said, we quit an abortion clinic because we didn't want to lose our medical license. So what we have seen as the states have started this, and as we at Energy and Commerce Committee are now in we've been in our investigation on this, Craig, for about 2.5 years, and looking at what is transpiring that is endangering the health and safety of women and babies. We know that the American people are wanting us to do something about this.
I hate to interrupt you, but if I didn't interrupt you, I probably wouldn't be able to get questions in. But in all seriousness here, no concern at all that as you continue to pile on restrictions, you make it far more difficult, and as a result, you have women who are going to, because you and I both know that women are going to find ways to get abortions in this country. They did so before Roe v. Wade. They'll continue to do so no matter what. No concern that this is going to lead to unsafe conditions.
We are incredibly concerned about the well-being, the safety, the health of these women, the life of women and of these babies. That is why we are doing this, because the trial of Kermit Gosnell, the information that has subsequently come from other states, public opinion has said something needs to be done about this. So, you know, Craig, this is one of those issues where science is on our side, public opinion is on our side,
you said
and
that.
we are taking a step to do something about it.
One more question. Not all Republicans are on board with this. Congressman Charlie Dent of Pennsylvania told the New York Times, quote, I think it's a stupid idea to bring this up. The economy is on everybody's minds. We're seeing staggering jobs numbers. Confidence in the institution of government is eroding. Why are Republicans still going down this road right now, Congresswoman, even though we both know that this has absolutely no chance of ever passing?
You know, it's so interesting. Everybody says, well, maybe the Senate should dictate everything that gets done in Washington, D.C. If they did that, we wouldn't get anything done because the Senate, my goodness, we couldn't even get them to pass a budget for 5 years, you know. And so this is something that the American people have said, you need to do something about this. Women have said, you need to do something about these late-term abortions. It is, there's a tremendous amount of public support for taking an action for putting a ban on these late-term abortions, and we're going to take that action today.
Is this purely pandering?
No, it isn't pandering at all. It's saving the life of women and of babies. Pandering? Absolutely not. I can't believe you would say something like that.
Congresswoman, you know, you and I
goodness.
both know that the president's not going to sign it. The Senate's not going to take it up. So clearly this is a measure that's symbolic, is it not?
You know what? It would be terrible if we sat on our hands, knowing what we found out through Kermit Gosnell's trial, knowing that even his own attorney said 24 weeks is a bad determiner. The law needs to be moved back to 16 or 17 weeks. Right. We're not moving this back as far as Kermit Gosnell's attorney said it should be moved back. We are taking a very reasonable step because the American people have spoken out and said they wanted something done. The U.S. House of Representatives is the people's house.
Congresswoman,
there are so many debates that are up to us to start the discussion. We will do that today, and thank you for your attention to the issue.
Thank you for your time as well. Congresswoman Marsha
Absolutely,
Blackburn of
anytime.
Tennessee.